Oh, it's a, I thought. Well, I don't know what's going on now. I'm all out of my element. Welcome to another edition of Lakers Fast Break, with the spotlight on the Lakerholics weekend. I'm a little out of practice. I haven't said that in like 2 or 3 weeks. I feel like so. Pardon my. I'm Jamie Sweet. Above me to my what do you call this? Stage right is Michael H from Hawaii. And above me to my stage right is Joe Glassard from the cool as a cucumber state of Nevada.
Hey, Michael was just saying and bragging about how great it is in Hawaii. I miss Hawaii already. I was there in late May, early June, and yeah,
great time to go. Great time to go.
It's a blistering 77.
Blistering. And it's still sunny there. It's nighttime here in Los Angeles.
Jamie, I'm not Gerald right now. I'm Laker Tom. Oh, Jamie, okay. You're an idiot, Jamie. Oh, I got a great trade for you. How about this? Stephen Curry for Max Christie, Cam Reddish, and a second rounder. It's a steal for Golden State.
You didn't throw in Jalen Hood-Schifino.
Yes, Jalen Hood-Schifino as a kicker. That's a steal.
Yeah,
you're an idiot, Jamie.
Yeah, I have no faith, is what he likes to say. Or no, he says that it must be.
Don't be idiotic, Jamie.
It must be sad living a life with no faith. And I'm like, it's not that.
My glass is half empty. Glass is half empty.
That's my favorite.
You and Gerald, your glass is half empty.
It's true. Actually, the waters.
I can only. I need some water after that. I can't do his voice for very long. So.
Anyway, as we're squarely in the dog days of NBA summer. It's Joe in the chat. Hi, Joe. How you doing? Can we please have a chat without CB? Who's CB?
It's Cool Bro.
Oh, Cool Bro. I mean, we'll see. Whatever. No. Cool Bro's fine. He's like 12. Whatever.
Maybe he's watching the Reagan movie or something. He said he was going to.
Oh, well. I'm sure that's thrilling. From actor to corporate tool and political show, Ronald Reagan. All right. Some of the worst years of America that couldn't be imagined, except for we're alive now. Anyway, this isn't a political podcast, thankfully, or I'd probably never stop yelling at people. Get off my lawn. But yeah, saint of misfortune. Anyhow, I got nothing but jokes when it comes to Ronnie. There's actually a really great 8-track my grandparents used to have. I forget the comedian's name, but he did a great Reagan impersonation. All the bits were funny. I used to have it memorized up until, I don't know, my mid to late 20s. I could probably recite the whole thing. If I was playing, I could probably recite it by memory. It's like, you know how things get buried in your brain and they really just take up space. They have no practical use. Yeah, Gerald loves politics. Top 5 things Gerald likes to talk about. Politics. How great the Celtics are doing. How pop culture cosmos just doesn't quite have enough content out there because video games don't get churned out at a fast enough rate or movies don't get made at a fast enough rate. Although Hollywood is in a slowdown. I'm not sure if that's affected the cosmos or not. Anyhow, we're here to talk about a couple of things specific to the Los Angeles Lakers. First off, how you guys doing? Michael, it's not too hot. Gerald, what is it, 200 million degrees there or what?
It's 109 today. That's all.
Oh, it's a little hotter than here.
I think it got to 81 here.
Good God. How did you live?
But there is a trade wind, so it keeps it cool.
I'd trade a win. I'd trade for a win right now.
See, I miss Hawaii so much. I'm wearing it on my shirt.
And I miss, anyway. Yes, more politics. Cool bros love life. Anywho, what I wanted to touch on today, and I'd love to get your thoughts, the Jarred Vanderbilt news. It's not really news, I suppose.
Because Michael Bresnahan of Spectrum SportsNet dropped a teaser that he may be out for training camp and the exhibition season. I don't know if he didn't want to go as far as the regular season, but he went as far as that's concerned. So,
but yeah, I don't know for sure. I see him on television. You know?
Yeah, it's a report. We don't know if it's fact or coach or GM hasn't commented on that.
And it's funny how this is leaked out because it leaked out through not Michael Bresnahan. Like he reported on it today, I think, right? And it was out.
Well, that's what I got from the articles was that it was reported. It's attributed to him. So
I see. So maybe he did drop it on Spectrum SportsNet, and that makes it a little more legit.
Because they have to be on 5 days a week, because they've got
They got to talk about something.
I've been showing backstage Lakers like 500 times a day. Yeah, there's definitely good that they can do outside.
Just so you know, Gerald, your mic is dropping in and out audio-wise. Okay. Like you start off hot, and then it goes into like a murky thing, and then it goes back up.
Well, then I'll try and keep it hot. How about that?
There you go. Oh, that's much better. Yeah. Anyway, anywho, Vando was never healthy last season. He was perfectly healthy the season that he came here, I thought. But what sucks is that like last season when he was healthy, it took him a couple of months, about a month, 6 weeks, I want to say, for him to get himself into game shape. And then he started really playing at a pretty high level. Like he was scoring with more force inside. He's never going to be a power player, but he was taking the ball to the rim with aggression. And he was shooting the corner three at like a 34, 35% clip, which is completely acceptable for what he brings to the table in the defense and the energy category. So like if that's the Vando you can get when he's healthy at that price, which is, a modest, I think 11 something, 12, tops out of 12 mil in a couple of years, or maybe 13, 14 mil in a couple of years.
It goes 10, 11, 12, 13, I think. So
gotcha. So it just gets more expensive as it goes along. It's a very team friendly contract for what he brings, or like it's a fair contract. It's a good deal for him. It's a good deal for the Lakers. I think this puts him right into the Gabe Vincent category. Everybody's going to include him in a trade. Nobody's going to want to trade for a guy who didn't play last season with a foot injury. And so I just don't think it's going to happen. But we'll have to suffer through $8 million, not just Laker Tom trades, but the world. The world now loves the trade machine. Vando is alive, Joe. I saw him. I saw he and Elvis. They were doing some stand up at the Improv together. It's great. It's a great bit. Elvis is funnier than you think he would be. Anywho, what are your guys' thoughts on this? I mean, it's kind of weird how it came out. Obviously, this opens the door for more Rui Hachimura minutes off the top of my head. Michael, what are your thoughts?
Well, you know what? I really don't know what to make of it, because remember our friend Nunn, who had a heel bruise that you
a bone bruise in his knee. It was a bone bruise in his knee, I believe.
Yeah, a bone bruise that lasted the entire year, and the Lakers never really came out and said, "Okay, this guy's going to be shelved" or anything. And
I think it lasted like 2 years.
And so it's like, I don't know. Can we trust the Lakers to really, tell us what is going on with the player, or is there nothing really to it? You don't know at this point.
If he's not going to be in camp, then there's definitely something to it. I mean,
we'll see it. We'll see how accurate the report is. Because right now
Mike B's pretty in touch. I feel like if it's Bresnahan on TV, he's that's as close to like the Lakers coming out and saying something as it gets. Because Spectrum SportsNet, in my opinion, is like the mouth of Sauron. I'm all over the Lord of the Rings stuff, by the way, because I just started watching Rings of Power. So it's definitely like on the top level of the psyche right now. So I've got my Second Age trivia going on. I've got my Numenor stats and facts that people don't even know what I'm talking about half the time that blather out of my mouth. Anyhow, we won't get into any of that either. We'll save that for Pop Culture Cosmos. What are your thoughts, Gerald? I mean, this, like I said, it feels a little weird that it trickled out. I mean, I have to agree with Michael to a point. Like, we'll see what this is, I think, basically on media day. But I mean, what does this do for you, G?
Well, when you look at him and his contribution last year of 29 games, and also as well Gabe Vincent and 5 games plus a little bit of playoff action, that's 20 some odd million that you're spending on those two guys.
Last season.
Well, last season not last season because it's still Jarred Vanderbilt, his last year of his contract. But this year, if you get the same kind of contribution, you're spending over $20 million for two guys who don't even score double digits, who've been injured or could be injured a great portion of the season. We don't know how Vincent's knee will respond, and we don't know how long, if at all, Vando will be out. He could be out for weeks, could be out, or could be ready by the time he goes. We don't know how legitimate Bresnahan's story is, but if you said it on Spectrum SportsNet, you have to take it more than just with a grain of salt. But last year for Jarred, it was a tale of two parts of the season for him. There was the period of time where, he was hurt. He was hurt when he signed that extension. First of all, Rob gets an F for offering him that extension when he was already hurting with foot injuries in the offseason last year.
But also classic Lakers, right? Classic Lakers.
Sign him while he's injured. Absolutely. Really smart move there. But
that's I mean, they did it with Kobe. Arguably, Vando has done a lot less for the franchise.
2 weeks, months later, he had his first 15 games where he just looked out of it. He just looked really incompetent and looked bad on both sides of the ball. He finally got to be where, well, actually, I think Ham realized, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and put you in the dunker spot. I'm going to take away the 3-point shot from you. Don't have to worry about that. Put you in the dunker spot. You can't drive very well. You can't shoot very well, but I'm going to put you in the dunker spot to make things easier for you. And it started to work. It started to find some minutes for him that he started to look pretty good on both sides of the ball. But then he got hurt again.
Yeah.
End of season. So,
and like the best game he'd ever played as a Laker against Boston. Like, didn't he have it was great. Great game.
Yeah, but it was short-lived. So what kind of Vando, and when will you get Vando back? And again, now that she's being paid more, it's a trade that, it's a contract you could trade off of. So is Gabe Vincent's, but how much do you have to pay to get off of guys like that if they're not giving you what you need off the bench? And it just comes right down to it. And I'll pass back to you and Michael in regards to after number 5. Yeah, it does give Rui more minutes, but after player number 5, there's a whole bunch of question marks from 6 through 15, a whole bunch of question marks that nobody's going to be able to answer right away. Max Christie is a question mark. Dalton Connect, as much as I'm intrigued by him, he's a question mark. At least on the defensive side,
a rookie.
Then after that, they've already shown that they're huge question marks. So really, this team is lacking some consistent depth and any type of reliability right now. And I don't know what JJ is going to be able to do to conjure up some magic for these guys, but you paid Max Christie $32 million for a 4-year contract to assume that he's going to be your guy off the bench. So let's hope that's the case, because if Jarred Vanderbilt's out, he may have to be your most reliable option. God help you.
I mean, that's depressing. We'll talk about glass all the way empty. I don't know. I think that
get ready for some Cam Reddish, Alan. Cam Reddish.
If Cam
you know what? I've got a good feeling about Max Christie as a player.
Okay,
that makes one of us. That makes one of us, because I certainly don't.
I don't think. My problem was they didn't let the market determine his. He was restricted.
They bid against themselves.
They bid against nobody.
Yeah, and so it's like nobody was going to pay him that much. The only thing I can think of is they wanted another $8 million for a trade. Down the line,
all over again.
I mean, let's say this. Let's say this. Let's say Max turns into a 10+ point per game, 38% 3-point shooter, which he's never done yet.
Did in summer league last year.
Oh, great. Yeah, and I kill it at the Y. I've slay at the Y, bro. You don't even know. Play for money? Sure, let's go.
Well, then when we get those emails, that's what they always point out. Oh, he did so well in summer league. He did so well in one game. He did so well in a fourth quarter against the Knicks.
Right. Small sample size to negative portions. Anyway, my point is this. Let's say, for instance, that Max Christie does, and that Gabe Vincent is able to play 15, 20 minutes per game without injury, and at decent, if you're putting a lot of eggs in the Gabe Vincent basket, you're probably not the Easter Bunny, and you should really rethink your career path. Gabe Vincent's going to play 15 to 20 minutes a game, 25 if there's problems with D'Lo and his defense and the way Redick and he, in an ideal world, Reeves and D'Lo are playing 30, 35 minutes a game. Doesn't leave a ton of backup minutes by design, I think. I hope. And if they're playing well enough that we're winning basketball games, that should be the formula going forward, because they're obviously our two best players. But if Max Christie and Vincent somehow start to make a little noise as a bench tandem, I still think the Lakers are in a weird catch-22 where whatever your shit, like you're saying, the cost of what are they going to bring back? What are they bringing back that's going to be so earth shattering that it makes sense to trade them? So in a way, I almost hope they play so well that they become untradeable, because I don't see any of the guys on the Lakers and our 2 draft picks 5+ years out being this amazing. And full disclosure, I've never seen those 2 draft picks as being an amazing haul, because I am not a big believer in the draft outside of the top 5 picks, and even those are pretty streaky at times. But this is the thing, like, you're not getting what were you joking about, the Steph Curry trade that will never happen? Well, you're not getting Steph Curry for Vincent and Christie and 2 first-round picks and whatever amount of pick swaps you want to add to. So it almost makes the most sense for the Lakers to roll the dice kind of with this team as is until LeBron retires. You can make margin tweaks like they should have done with the 2020 team. Kyle Kuzma, I think today or the other day, came out with something basically hinting at the same thing. I think he does that once a year now, actually, as a little – I think he did the same thing last year, as I recall. Somebody's talking to me. By the way, I'd like to mention that Rob blew that 2020 title team up a little too early. Quote me on that. But I don't know. I just don't – I feel like the Lakers are kind of stuck with this team, and so I am putting myself in the position of hoping for the best internally. I would like to see internal growth more than I would like to see a trade. I would like to see internal cohesion and chemistry and improvement, which admittedly gets hard when you change the coach out every 600 days or so. These things all this is the equation I've come down to, is that it's going to be better for us for these guys to all do well, be healthy, play well. And I don't say that because I hope it results in a trade for a third star. I just don't see it happening.
Yeah. My thing is, you look at, first of all, there's hardly anybody out there, nobody's really putting guys up. And unless somebody different comes along, you look at the guys that are out there, and I don't, Jamari Grant. I mean, he's a
Jeremy Grant. Yes.
Yeah. Jeremy. He's a step up a little bit defensively on Rui, but Rui's not a great rebounder. Grant's even worse. Yeah. And offensively, he's not better than Rui. So It's like, and then you spend a whole bunch of money and you're going to have to get 3 contracts to get him.
And, at least 2 draft picks, minimum of 2 draft picks.
And so even 1 draft pick, how much does he move the needle? He doesn't,
Not in the way that's significant.
And he's the best one.
I think that, Joe, what are your thoughts on all that before I pose a question? Hey, what's up, Jarred? It is the banjo man. Didn't bring the banjo. It's in a case.
Well, again, there's just so much uncertainty after you get past.
Is there really? It's just the uncertainty of health, because I think we can.
No, it's the uncertainty of what. Okay, so who comes off the bench? Who is going to be the 6th man? Who's going to get you at least 10 points a game? I mean, Joe and I are leaning towards the rookie, but we're talking about a rookie.
I think you have to have Rui come off the bench. I know that he was the best as a starter last season, but I think you have to consider.
Well, I've said for months now that, actually a couple years, that Reeves and Rui on a playoff team, on a real playoff team, on a good playoff team, would be a 6th and 7th man.
They're like Farmar and Odom. So, you know what I mean? Like a level like that.
But unfortunately, due to the fact that they just don't have any depth or talent, they have to play the majority of the minutes right there. So they have to start them. Just again, everybody's talking about JJ unlocking Reeves. Do people forget Reeves was an undrafted player? So there's a limit on how far he will most likely reach. And he's already in his mid-20s already. So
no, you're looking at he's a glue guy, right? He is like
he can maybe shorten the turnovers a little bit. He can improve his shooting to be about 38 to 40%. But that's the little tweaks. It's not like huge, massive gains. He's not going to become this all-star shooting guard that people are envisioning. that he maybe what a year, 2 years ago when Reeves mania was at its height, he's just not that guy and not that player. He's a good functional player, which maybe you can con somebody into a trade for some really good assets. That's probably the best it's going to be.
I don't envision Austin having to be the third scorer. I mean, D'Lo's a good scorer, and he's getting 18. If Austin gets you 16, 17, Rui was averaging 16.7 as a starter. That's good offense, along with LeBron and AD. So it's like, you're right about the bench, though. That's where my concern is that somebody's going to have to step up offensively. I mean, it's kind of like you've got maybe your best defenders on the bench and your best offensive players starting, on the starting.
I honestly go ahead. Sorry, Michael. Go ahead.
I just think that silver lining for me was towards the end of the year, Austin started looking a little bit better on defense, and hopefully that carries on. Rui's not a bad he's actually a pretty decent on-ball defender. He just gets caught in his rotations.
But the thing, Michael, is if you keep LeBron at the 4, Rui has to play the 3, and he cannot guard wings. We've already seen he just cannot guard.
He did for the tune of 21 and 8.
He can
as a 3.
Yeah, he can. It's just that it's not a happy
ending. There you go.
No, it's not a happy ending. I mean, and I think in the right defensive scheme, he would even be better. But the problem is that this is my problem, is that like with a starting 5, and this is why I like Vando in the starting lineup when healthy. Starting 5 of D'Lo, Reeves, Hachimura, LeBron, and AD. That is a lot of pressure being put on AD's ability to recover, contest, rebound, and then be ready to contribute on offense on a nightly basis. That's asking a lot for 48 minutes, 35, 40 minutes from Anthony Davis.
Well, let me ask you this.
It's just not doable. Real quick, I want to answer a couple questions. Darren, I'm a 5th-generation Californian, actually, so I'm not from Arkansas. And it's conversation. They're saying conversation, even though they keep typing conversion. Both Gerald and Joe keep typing conversion, which is hilarious to me. But anyhow, I just wanted to get through that. And yes, if Cool Bro does show up, I'll get the.
Oh, I just copied and pasted what Joe said, so that's basically his typo that I copied and pasted in there.
Oh, and Joe, you're right. I told you so. Right there. That's how you know we're friends, because we mercilessly needle each other. Anyhow, listen. So that's what I like. I think Rui has to, when the Lakers are fully healthy, I think Rui is your first man off the bench, because he can get you 10 to 15. I think pretty reliably. I think that's when you make him the focal point of the offense. You maybe put him with Hayes, maybe even Wood, so that like you at least have length. They're not all great defenders, but at least they're all long. And like you cobble together a defensive identity where, okay, like Wood can maybe hit a 3, get a rebound. Hayes, roll man, set screens for Rui. Rui can pick and pop. And you put the ball in his hands and say, just go be the best Rui Hachimura you can be. But if there's no Vando, and this is just the same thing that happened last year, I feel like. It just says this. And everybody by the way, I saw you, chat, bagging on Vando like you do. Feel free. Go ahead. It's a free country, evidently. So they tell me. And so I think when healthy, Vando is basically what takes this team to another level. Problem being that he hasn't been healthy all last season. But it has a cascade effect when he's not in there. In that, now you have to put a not defender, because there's not another big defender that we have other than AD on the floor. And it takes scoring away from the bench, because if you have a healthy Vanderbilt, you can start him at the 3 with LeBron, and he can cover basically 1 through 4, sometimes 5, depending on the 5. Jokic, no. Embiid, no. Probably even Vukovic would give him a hard time. But I would put Vando on Cat. I'd be fine with that if it came to it. If they got switched onto one another, I wouldn't hate that. Vando blows by his defender to the rim, Joe.
Cat's not a hard cover, really, when you think about it.
But that's what I'm saying. There are. That's what I mean.
He likes to hang out on the perimeter.
And that's Vando's strength, is that he's a plus perimeter defender, which this team lacks. D'Lo, negative perimeter defender. Austin Reeves, let's call him a net neutral perimeter defender. Vincent didn't play. Really negative, I'd say, perimeter defender. Better in the post, better on the paint, on the block. And I don't have a lot of appreciation for whatever they call Christian Wood's defense or Max Christie's defense or JHS barely played, so we don't know. Somebody's got to come out of the woodwork here, is what it feels like. It's either got to be Hood Schifino, Max Christie, Reeves taking that Mercury, that comet-like leap forward where he does shatter your expectations, Gerald. I kind of agree with you. I don't see it in him.
I think you're getting almost to the Max. Pardon the Christie pun there. That you're seeing getting out of Reeves. I don't know how much he can tweak little things. He can shoot a little bit better. He can play make a little bit better. But it's minute things that you're tweaking, and that'll make him maybe a little bit better player. But he's not going to get to the level that the Lakers need him to get to in order for them to be in that upper echelon in the Western Conference.
I think it all comes down to how they call his contact. I thought last season they overcorrected for the stretch that he was just getting to the line like 10 plus some ridiculous amount after the All-Star break, right? After the trade, after the All-Star break, Reeves, when they put Reeves in the starting lineup, it was like you couldn't touch the guy. He went to the foul line every time. I thought last season they overcorrected for that, where I thought he got kind of hacked a lot going up. And so I kind of expect to see a balancing of that. And if he can average 6 free throws a game, I think that he can be an 18 to 20 point scorer in the league. Now, whether or not that happens is entirely up to the referee group every night. I don't see him scoring organically 20 points a game for a season. I think he tops out between 15 and 18 organically, just the way he plays his game. I do think you have to hope for him improvement on the defensive end. I think that's really, I think that's the last untapped resource in his bag.
That's where it is for me with him, is the defensive end, because he's the fourth option.
Alan.
He is. He's the fourth option.
No, Alan put Bronny in the chat, and I'm like, Alan, please.
He's the fourth option.
Please.
You don't need to get 20 points out of your fourth option on offense. If he can get you, he's getting 17, 18 points a game. That's for a fourth option. That's not bad.
Do you think Reeves is the fourth option? I think he's kind of the third. I hate to say it. I know we have Russell, and you're assuming Russell is the third option.
It alternates between those two. How about that?
I think that's more accurate.
Where the guy that could really, add a little bit to this team would be Christian Wood, if he could learn to shoot again.
Well, same goes for AD. AD is shooting 5 threes at 35%.
He had one season, 1.5, where it really worked out for him. Then he got that nice contract, which we've seen many times before. These middle of the road players, they have that one spectacular season that gets them a nice big fat contract, and then it all goes away. And I don't know. Again, this is his year or season of revenge. He's talking about.
Well, you know what?
All great and good. That all sounds all great, but yeah, we'll see it in action. Go ahead, Mike.
Well, he's a career 38% 3-point shooter. He shot 30% last year.
So that's his average.
Yeah, way below his average. And I'm not saying he's the answer. I'm just saying he can add a little something.
That's what I'm saying. You can cobble together. If he shoots 35% on, let's say, 3 shots a game, 3-point shots a game, and does whatever the rest of the time he does, just because he's 6'9".
He's not a bad rebounder either. He's pretty decent.
That's what I mean.
Slow.
He's okay. He's slow, but he's tall, and he's decent at positioning himself.
Well, then let me ask you this. I'm going to ask Michael this first. So, okay, the Lakers did virtually nothing as far as changes in the offseason. So, with that said, don't the deficiencies, and Joe and I have covered this on our shows during the week, doesn't this, as far as the deficiencies that you had, they don't get better because you have the same personnel. So the rebounding issues, the fact that they don't take as many threes, in fact, they're one of the worst teams as far as volume threes, the fact that they are terrible on both the offensive and defensive boards, Those things don't go away if you don't change up your personnel, Mike.
Yeah, but okay. Here's my counterpoint to that. They were the starting group, the starting five was 21-8 going down the stretch. They had the toughest schedule in the NBA, and everybody was playing for something. Nobody was resting their guys because they had a position locked up. So I mean that's quality. Now you get into the playoffs with 3 rotation guys down against a healthy Denver team, and lead most of the time. I mean, they lose the game 5 when AD hurts his shoulder.
Yeah.
You know, plays with one arm for the second half.
Game 3 when Murray hit that, couldn't see the basket shot.
Yeah,
I
mean,
game 2.
And I'm not saying, you know, say Vando, for instance, I'm not saying he would have been worth 10, 20 points. He would have been worth three or 4 possessions. You know, he could have.
The playoffs, man.
I really think if they had been into it healthy and AD hadn't hurt his shoulder in that 5th game, I think they would have beat the Nuggets. And who knows what would happen from there. I don't think they're that awful. You know,
I don't think they're that awful either.
I think they could easily be a 50-win game, a 50-win team. Are they contender? Not at this point, unless they show me, you know, step up.
50 is a high bar.
And remember, you were counting on LeBron and AD playing 70 plus games again, and also having 3 shooters shoot over 40% from behind the arc again. Now this time though, with added higher volume. That's a lot to ask 2 seasons in a row.
I don't know if it's a lot to ask from Hachimura. I think he's a solid 3-point shooter. I think LeBron is in the lab as we speak, getting that 3-point shot in place. I also want to know what Joe has against the people who work at Home Depot. I don't understand. I don't understand you, Soros. I don't understand you.
Nobody
Soros.
understands. He doesn't even understand himself. That's
the people of Home Depot are fantastic.
My biggest concern going into the season is a backup center.
Agreed. Not really. I mean,
Jackson Hayes is 220 pounds.
I'm fine with Hayes.
He's a terrible defender.
We got torched whenever AD rested.
Yeah.
We got torched.
He's terrible defensively, Jamie.
He started worse than he finished.
I remember that. Remember the game.
All right, go ahead. I'll
remember the Warriors game. Remember the Warriors game that we were up by like 12, 14 points. AD got hurt, left. It became a layup line.
Sure.
Literally,
he's always on the. He's that guy that's got all the athletic ability. He's got hops. He can jump out of the building, 7 feet tall. But yet he's on the other side of the key as they're scoring the layups, Jamie, each and every time. His defensive instincts are abysmal. The only thing he can do, which Joe loves, is the fact that he can pick and roll. Yay, he can pick and roll. That's great. That's good for 3 or 4 times a game. But what do you do for the rest of the 47 minutes that are out there? Again, he cannot defend if his life depended on it.
I don't know about that. I think that's being a little bit unfair, basically because I thought that
it's there on camera.
No, hold on. Let me finish. First off, okay, Joe, Home Depot doesn't hire anyone. I've driven through the parking lot. Come on. Sorry. It's the last thing I'll say about Home Depot.
I thought the barbecues all guarded themselves out there.
They do. They've got a pack
along with all the plants that sit out.
Yeah, it's a protection racket. You know, don't touch the barbecue. Anyway, I'm also going back to The Sopranos for some reason, I've never seen The Sopranos.
Oh, Joe will like that.
Oh yeah, no, it's great. I'm still in season 1. Anyhow, here's the thing. I think that Hayes had. I think that you have to look at Hayes. You have to stagger LeBron and AD. Or you need somebody who helps Jackson Hayes on defense. When he played, he generally played with D'Lo, Reeves, Prince, and somebody else who happened to be healthy. Right.
All I'm going to say is this: New Orleans needs a center desperately now. They had a center not too long ago in Jackson Hayes that they drafted.
Yeah, he was a rookie. Come on.
Yeah, but he's been in the league 5 years now. And he's bounced around already once. And
I thought that Hayes.
There's a reason why he picked up the minimum on his contract.
Well, yes. Same with Patrick Beverley, who's playing overseas. Same with THT, who's playing on a
Same with
non-guaranteed
Christian
contract.
Wood.
Same with Wood. Yeah, there
Cam
wasn't a lot of
Reddish.
money. That's not necessarily a reflection on Hayes' skill set. I think
It's
that's
because
just,
nobody else wants
thing.
him right now.
Here's another thing. When AD sat, who was guarding like the Joker? It wasn't Hayes. It was Rui or LeBron, because
they wanted Hayes to be some kind of weird roamer. No, I thought that they figured out whatever they did with Jackson Hayes from January on. I thought worked. I'm not saying it worked great. I thought that it worked for your backup center. I thought that he was fouling less, he was contesting better, and I was happy enough with that, because I don't think we have the will or the money or the ability to bring in a true backup center, probably without overpaying. And at the end of LeBron's career, I am not in the business of overpaying with whatever we have right now. I would rather, this is what I'm saying, I would rather see improvement from within. I would rather bank on, bet on, count on, hope for, whatever you want to call it, on improvement from within, because no one is going to do the Lakers any favor in any trade scenario I can envision. And whatever you get back, you're probably giving out more than you should. And knowing Rob, I could almost guarantee it that any trade that we make this season, should we make a trade, he will end up sending out more than he should. You could argue that he sent out more than he should just to get the AD deal done, because Magic screwed it up the year before with all trying to do it mid-season when New Orleans just used that to make everybody look ridiculous. AD looked ridiculous. The Lakers looked ridiculous. Everybody got schooled in Los Angeles. New Orleans, the people of New Orleans thought it was hilarious. They got to boo AD, whatever. They still haven't won Jack, so good on you, New Orleans. But I just think that I would rather bet on Hayes right now than trade or sign, like who better?
Walker
Who better?
Kessler.
We're not going to get Walker Kessler. It's just not going to happen. You're going to overpay, huh?
Ainge will still want him at a premium. Doesn't matter how bad his second season was. He's still very young, and Ainge is going to make you pay if you want to go and get Kessler.
Yeah, I don't know what, I don't know what's going on with it. The Knicks offered 2 first-round picks, but what I understand the reason why Utah turned them down was because they were New York Knicks' own picks in upcoming near drafts, and they figured that they're going to be like glorified second rounders, because they're figuring the Knicks are going to be pretty good for the next few years.
Knicks are going to be pretty good for the next few years.
They should be, unless they get whacked with injuries, they should be pretty good.
His basketball IQ is below LeBron's title total. That's a good one, Joe. I like that one. Anyhow, all right. Listen, let's move on from backup center. I don't think we're going to get Walker Kessler. I think that he was on the trading block as much as Markkanen ever was, which is to say, yeah, if you want to send me a king's ransom, you can have Lauri Markkanen, but we're planning on resigning him. And yeah, technically he's a restricted free agent or whatever he was at the time. And cool, bro. Not the guy, but the idea. It just wasn't ever going to happen in my mind. All right. The other thing I want to talk about is the Lakers 3-point shooting. Everybody thinks the Lakers need to take more threes. Not surprisingly, I would like to see the Lakers pretty much cap it at 35. I think much more than 35 when you're playing away from LeBron's strengths, or at least his traditional strengths. He could maybe.
Well, the Lakers finished the top 10 in efficiency. They were the 8th place NBA 3-point shooting team as far as efficiency. So
I love that. But also we got to the free throw line, top 5 again.
Second. We were actually second.
We've been top 10 since LeBron came here. Every season.
I completely agree with you. 35. You know what 35 does? It makes us 15th in the league.
That's right.
It makes us right in the middle.
That's exactly where I think
that's perfect.
If we can shoot 35, be middle of the pack, fantastic. And if we can keep that efficiency, even better, because now you're getting probably another 3 to 6 points a game out of that. We're talking about 1 or 2 more, 3 or 4 more taken threes, 1 or 2 more made threes, right? Yeah. Roughly.
Yeah, we make it up on their free throw line,
Hopefully. I mean, that's where it's going to be interesting to see how much LeBron drives? This is the real question for this Laker team, right? You have what is the traditional LeBron James game where he's a downhill locomotive, bullies his way to the basket, and I think we'll still see that on occasion. I just also happen to think he's probably going to once again shoot the most 3-pointers in a season that he ever has. I think this not just because of his age, but because Redick has openly said, I want you to shoot more threes. Darren, please come to Lakerholics.com. We'd love to have you there. Your sorrows are welcome. Tom will try to cure them with positivity and optimism, and I'll be like, yeah, no, bring your sorrows. It's cool. We're all a little bit sad. It's good. We're all sitting here, a bunch of talking sports. It's all cool, man. So I think, 35 works for me. 35 means you're still trying to put the ball in AD's hands.
Well, let me.
Yeah,
Alan, I apologize, Jamie. Alan said, I don't mind us shooting more threes as long as it's LeBron, not LeBron. It is LeBron.
LeBron shot 40%.
Yeah. So, Alan, if you're talking about the statistics, and I understand with LeBron, people have really hated that about his game in recent years, about how he's more reliant on the three. But last year, it kind of worked out for him, shooting 41% from three. So in essence, you would want him to shoot that more often than maybe doing his usual ISOs and stuff like that.
He was doing it in the Olympics as well. He was doing it in the Olympics.
This is what I'm saying. This is the new version of LeBron that we're getting, right? So if LeBron is shooting more threes, I'm fine with it. If D'Lo is shooting more threes, or about the same amount, I think he shot
7.
But 7+, right? So somewhere in the 8 to 9, maybe even 10 threes a game for D'Lo makes sense for me, because I don't like D'Lo driving to the rim. D'Lo is not good in the paint. D'Lo is not good at the basket. D'Lo really should be a catch and shoot 3-point shooter or a transition 3-point shooter. Those I feel like are his strengths. What's up, Kurt? That's where I like when people say, like, I want to see the Lakers shoot a lot more threes. Who are we talking about doing the shooting? This is the question I have. If you say, okay, LeBron's going to take, what did he shoot? How many did he shot? Like 7. He shot 8 last year. Not
7 or 8.
I think it was just under 8. So let's say he shoots. Let's just make it a nice round number. Let's say he shoots 10. That's a dramatic uptick in volume. That's a lot more 3-pointers per game for LeBron than he's ever taken, even on top of last year, which I believe was the most he had ever taken. 10. All right. So now you're not even a third of the way to 35. No more than 10 for D'Lo. So now you're a little over halfway there. You're at 20. And let's be honest, neither's going to shoot 10 per game. It'll probably be more like 8 or 9. But let's just say, for the argument's sake, they both get 10. Let's just to make it easy on everybody and not overtax our brains. So now you're at 20. Who's taking the next 15? You don't want Hachimura taking more than 5. I think Rui's games is actually, he's a better mid-range shooter than he is a 3-point shooter. I know he makes them at a decent clip, but I don't know that I want that to be his role. I think I want him
as a starter. He shot 43% from on 4
from
games.
the bench. From the bench, it's like 35, 34. I want to say, like, it's a big. There's a big separation there. It's a pretty.
That's one of the reasons why he's a better player when he starts. I mean, statistically, he is.
I agree. I mean, yeah, the problem is that, like, you got LeBron, like Gerald said, if you're playing LeBron and Rui and AD and Reeves and D'Lo, you're really looking at a lot of ground you got to make up on offense over defense.
Darren, it's all when it comes to Dalton, though.
Time out on the whole Dalton connecting. He's a rookie. He's never played in this many games. It's going to be an 82-game grind. If the 3-point line is further back. He's a rookie. Get it out of your head that he's going to be the savior for the team. If you're relying on Dalton Connect to come in here on his white horse,
I'm not relying on him, Jamie. But I think the way that the fact that we have very unreliable candidates after number 5, I think there's a chance that he can become a really good candidate for the Lakers to play.
If he beats out Max Christie, if he beats out Max Christie and JHS,
another thing about Dalton also is, he's one of the few guys that's a motion shooter. He can come off a screen and shoot as a motion shooter. Not most of our guys, even LeBron, he dribbled up and he shot his threes. He wasn't shooting off of screens. He wasn't shooting off of motion. D'Lo a little bit, not so much for Rui or not so much for Austin, but Dalton can. That's part of his game. So,
in theory, I mean, from the college 3-point line, yes, but we're going to see how that. I mean, listen, Adam Morrison was supposed to be a great shooter. I mean, the league is littered with great college shooters who just couldn't cut it. Now I'm seeing, and I agree that Connect.
If his defense gets to even just a below average stat point, he's going to be out there on the floor because I believe he can get to a 40% shooter from three. The problem is his defense cannot be a matador. If he's not a matador like he was in the summer league, then that's a good sign for the Lakers. But the problem is it's very sketchy right now.
Yeah, I mean, part of that it's summer. Again, like I take very little from summer league. Positive, negative, defense, offense. You might as well be telling me you killed it at the Y. I kill it at the Y.
If he's shooting 40%, though, he's going to be a good option for the Lakers.
But he also won't be. He won't have the ball that in his hands like he did in summer league. This is the thing. Like none of it. It's all fantasy. He's going to get 15-ish minutes a game, right? 15 to 20 at best. And that's, I think, if you're right, Joe, if his defense is up to par. If his defense isn't up to par, he's going to get 5-7 minutes at the end of blowouts, right? Maybe a little bit of time before the half if somebody's in foul trouble or whatever. This is the reality of the NBA, of not the NCAA, not of summer league, of the NBA. And I've been saying this my whole dang life. I've watched summer league games. They're a lot of fun to be at. I don't think it matters for your NBA career. You can kill it in summer league. You can suck. You're gonna show us what you can do when it matters. When the lights are brighter, when there's more travel, when there's more games, when you're facing way better opponents than you ever faced in summer league or the G League or college. And defenses may even be geared up to kind of stop you if you're the first guy off the bench. And they just will chase that guy off the line. Don't let him shoot the three.
I think the best option, if he does break out and become a Rookie of the Year candidate, Michael and Jamie, he'll the best option for the Lakers is if he does become a breakout candidate for Rookie of the Year. If he does become that guy that the draft experts said that the Lakers really hit on. So that's a big if, but we'll see.
I got the beard trimmed. It's my hair's freaking short. And Kurt, you're already giving me a hard time about my hair in the pool. Come on, bro. Listen, I don't know how you guys feel about this. I'm not. If our season comes down to, boy, I hope Dalton Connect really is amazing.
That just tells you where we're at. I mean, there's a reason why Vegas picked the Lakers right now, 11th place in the Western Conference.
I'd rather hope for Max Christie to become a 10-plus point per game scorer and play decent defense. I think that's got as much, if not better, chance of happening. All right, last thing I'd like to talk to you about, and Michael, I'd like to start with you. What are our expectations for Jalen Hood-Schifino this season? But I'm trying to be, and I don't mean tongue in cheek. I've been tongue-in-cheek about JHS all summer long. It's hard to know because I've only seen him play in a few G League games, but what I've seen in the G League, I haven't hated. Michael, your thoughts?
Well, he was killing it in the G League when he was healthy. I mean, his biggest problem was he started the year hurt. He finished the year hurt.
Yeah.
He had a corridor of health in between. And I watched quite a few G League games. He was one of the best. He was being considered one of the best, if not the best, point guard in the G League. That when he was healthy, guy was putting up 20 points a game, and I forgot how many assists. He was looking pretty good. But that's the G League. Unfortunately, it's hard when you're a rookie to miss a whole bunch of time your first year. It really
and get a rhythm. Yeah, agree.
Yeah, it really. I remember Julius Randle got hurt the first game, missed the entire year. That second year, even though he was super talented, it took him almost to the end of the season before he started showing any of his talent.
Yeah,
So I mean, it's tough on a rookie. So we'll have to. I don't know what my expectations are for him. I just hope he's supposedly healthy and he's supposedly at the facility working out. So hopefully, fingers crossed that he can get healthy and learn a little bit. And I don't see him, at least for the first half of the year, really getting any kind of rotation minutes. Maybe if he's healthy and he gets, comes up and down, you know how they do it, up and down with the G League. Maybe he finds a rhythm by the middle of the year, and we can kind of see what he can do. But I don't have much expectation for at least the first half of the year.
All right. Just the chat has got some zingers on the whole Jalen Hood-Schifino topic, of course. Thank you, best Lakers chat on planet Earth. Gerald, your thoughts on Jalen Hood-Schifino?
Well, he had back surgery.
Yeah.
And those are two words that are very scary. So I don't know how effective he is right now, at the Lakers facility in El Segundo, and how well it comes. I have zero expectations when it comes around to it, because, you saw how many years it took Joel Embiid coming off the back surgery to become an effective player and then get to that level where he got at. So,
and he got a lot of minutes. He got a lot of minutes to work the rest out and to work himself into,
And Kurt said that's scary for a young player to get back surgery. So I have zero expectations for JHS. So I'm hoping he will exceed the zero expectations I have. But let me ask you this. I'll turn it back to you guys. Let's say he does let's say he does play well enough to become the backup point guard behind D'Lo. Does that speak more volumes about him or speak less volumes about Gabe Vincent?
Well, that's my expectation. My expectation is that he seriously challenges Gabe Vincent for his minutes. If you're
paying $10 million, well, actually, no.
I'm just saying. No, it's JHS. Oh, JHS. No, he's like $4 million. No, it's his rookie deal.
And so he's only $6 million less than.
Yeah, no, he's. But I mean, listen, if he can challenge Gabe Vincent for backup point guard minutes in training camp, and maybe like you were saying, for the first month or two of the season, and make it a legit conversation to where you have to think about it, that's great for the Lakers. Great for JHS. Maybe not so great for Gabe Vincent. Who cares? Don't never sign anybody from Miami. Pick the guy they would have picked in the draft. Do that, but don't sign their detritus. Just hope so. Just here a second. So sorry. There's some really great. There's some really great jokes in the chat. I know he wasn't healthy enough for some back surgery again. But if he comes in the camp, I mean, there's been more news about Vando's injuries than JHS's. So I'm assuming he's going to be ready for camp unless Brez or somebody drops a bomb that he isn't. So with that in mind, if he can just compete at a high level for the backup point guard role on the Los Angeles Lakers and make it a meaningful conversation, I will be happy. I will not worry if he gets the backup role or not. It just means that he's playing well enough to be in the conversation. And if something happens to Vincent, okay, now here's your shot, bro. Take the torch and run with it. Make it like when Reeves got into the starting lineup. Make it impossible for them to take you out unless they trade you for somebody better.
Well, the thing was who was JHS before the back injury? He was a guy.
Well, listen, I was
couldn't shoot and he couldn't defend. So that's what
I was pissed about. I was pissed about this pick minute one. So let's not get started on that. The fact of the matter is that he's on the team now. Nobody's going to trade for him for a superstar with Max Christie and Rui Hachimura and any combination of 8 to 12 to 15 or more $1 million contracts that you put into the pie hole. It just doesn't. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants the Laker role players for a superstar level talent. Nobody. I don't care if the superstar asks out and says they'd love to be a Laker. Nobody is making that deal because they will then get fired, and they should. Anyhow, jeez, Mission, that's brutal. That's my hope for JHS. I hope that he is able to make it a meaningful conversation. That it's not just Gabe Vincent. Do you know what I mean? If it's just Gabe Vincent, then we got to hope that Gabe's healthy. We got to hope that he's something like the defender that we saw in Miami, that he can hit clutch threes like he did in Miami. Maybe score a couple of layups at the rim. But if he's not able to challenge at even that level, if he's not able to compete and contribute at even that level, then he's just, for me, I hate to say it, but for me, he's already kind of a bust of a pick, just based off of year one and compared what Whitmore and Jaquez did on their respective teams. And Podziemski. And Podziemski, that we could have used any one of those guys as much, if not more, than the teams that they're on, and the fact that the Lakers did not have the wherewithal.
The thing about, Hood Chipino, he could turn out to be a really good player. Who knows?
I hope so. And it might not be for the Lakers, right? It might not be for the Lakers.
But the problem is, on a win now team, you don't take a 19-year-old project when you've got, that was the thing that killed me about what Rob did on the draft.
I know.
You've got a win now ball club. You've got some older rookies that are ready for the NBA. You draft those guys.
I know.
You don't take somebody you have to develop.
And his defense for not taking Cam Whitmore, I believe Cam Whitmore had back injuries or back issues.
Well, Cam Whitmore
had interview issues, supposedly.
Well, was that what it was? Interview issues?
Well, he was hurt a lot too, and
he was hurt a lot too, if I remember.
I think he
had
projected as a pretty high draft pick, and
he was a top 5.
20 teams
he was
passed
top 5
him
at
up.
one point. Yeah,
20 teams passed him up, or 15 teams passed him up from number 5. So, that I forgive them on Whitmore, but not the other guys that were more.
You're not going to get me to roll over on that one. That was we were calling it that day on our draft show to get Whitmore. Jaquez was talked about. Podziemski. Okay, nobody was Podziemski.
A lot of people missed on Pods.
I think Stone Hansen was the only one who was really high on Pods, and obviously that worked out to be well. But then again, we keep getting called out on emails about how there's no way in Ham's system either one of those guys would have actually made any contribution last year.
Jaquez is as good, honestly, and I hate to say this, if not better already than Vando is. And Vando has a place in the Ham system. In fact, Ham went out of his way to mention how much he missed a player, just like Jaquez, all season long. All right. But anyway, we could keep rehashing that draft from last season. I liked our draft a lot more this season. Hopefully, yes, Darren, I agree.
Including the second round pick?
I mean, whatever. It's a second rounder. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to get into it. Let's talk about what's his name, Maxwell Lewis. Oh, Maxwell Lewis didn't hit. It's the same. He's Maxwell Lewis. The only difference is his last name. I don't care. There's nobody better you could have picked that would have made me be like, oh, well, that guy.
But if there is, I'm just, like I said, I'm not going to be like Joe that's just going to get on it because, like you said, like I've said before, 90% in the past 10 years, 9 out of 10 of the guys picked at that spot have not made it in the NBA. They've not gotten to a second contract. Only one. So the odds are against Bronny being a contributor in the NBA. But if somebody is picked after that, like what are the last couple picks, or somebody's undrafted that does become a player in the league, you are going to hear about it from us because the fact is that right. Rob could have had a chance to get that person.
Well, so there's that's a little bit hyperbolic. I'm going to argue. I'm going to push back on that a little bit. And the only reason I'm going to say that is you don't know what the scouting department was saying. We don't know. And if we ever find out, if it comes out, oh, this guy, everybody in the room was like, no, I know it's Bronny and LeBron. I know it's going to be great for all the blah, blah, blah. It's going to whatever, this, that, and the other thing. If that comes out at some point on down the line, then yes. But if you're telling me that there was all the scouts in the room were like, it's a crapshoot, man. Bronny probably should have gone higher if he didn't have a heart attack. It is what it is. Life happens. Cam Whitmore dropped. Bronny dropped. Whatever. Things happen, right? Only if it comes out that, yes, there was like a consensus. This guy is a game changer, especially for our team, and we pass on him to draft Brownie. If that comes out, then yes, that's terrible. But if it's, this guy, like if it's another Podziemski, if it's another something similar to that.
Yeah, we're talking, what, 55, and they went to 58. We're not
sweet.
But you've already given him a 4-year contract.
That's the part that's weird because we didn't do that with Christie, and it would have really done wonders for our salary cap this season if we had.
But you know what? That was LeBron's money that we gave him.
LeBron, after you go ahead and ask him to take a pay cut after you agree on terms.
No.
That went over the 200 the second tax cap.
Smoke and mirrors. Wow, $7,000. That is a robust projection. I sure hope so. I sure hope he ends up as good as Derek Fisher does, because Derek Fisher was legendary at taking a charge off the screen. He was great at fighting through screens. He was a clutch 3-point shooter, and he was one of the best backup point guards, best backup guards the Lakers have ever had, ever.
But he started multiple times.
I would have retired Fish's number before I retired Cooper's, maybe. I mean, at what point do you say, like, well, Michael Cooper, but not Derek Fisher? Like, what?
Well, I think the criteria is you have to be in the Hall of Fame. Seriously, there's not one guy up there that's not in the Hall of Fame.
Right, you're right. Kurt just said he means Derek.
What, 7? You're really 7. I don't know what you're smoking, but seeing the guy as a KCP or Derek Fisher type, he's a 6'1" guard who isn't a point guard. He's a shooting guard who's supposed to be a good defender and has yet to be able to shoot well from behind the eye. In fact, shoot competently from behind the 3-point line.
I can't even. I don't even want to. I don't care to discuss Bronny. I just want to leave the kid alone. Like, I feel the way about Bronny.
I said before, I play him in the first game, second quarter, play him for like 2-3 minutes to get all the buzz, get all the, the history making, then send him to South Bay for the rest of the season.
We'll see. Injuries will dictate that. Unfortunately.
One note on Maxwell Lewis.
Please.
He has a $100,000 guarantee next year.
I know.
So I mean, he's gone.
He's awful. He has been absolutely awful.
The bad thing about it is he looks like he should be a good player. He has the athleticism. He's crazy long. He just can't make layups even.
And he was a worse defender in summer league than even Dalton Connect. So
I know. I don't. Yeah. I mean, yes, Joe, that might have been wise as well, but everybody knew that wasn't going to happen. So this is, I feel about Bronny the way I feel about when ESPN puts high school football players on TV. Just leave them alone. They're not even 18. You're making money off of children. That's what we do in Kentucky with coal miners. All right. Sorry, people in Kentucky, not really. I'm just saying, leave the high school kids in football alone. Let them just be. This is crazy. Kids. what a world we could live in. And same with Bronny. He's either going to make it or he's not. All the shove, his dad and whatever. Like, just let him be his own dude. Let him carve his own path, and he'll do just what he's supposed to do. And I think
2 years. I believe 2 years of his contract is team options.
So the last 2 are team options. So
it's not like they're going out on a limb on him. If he doesn't pan out in the first 2 years, then they can let him go.
Yeah, they will. And just like Christy probably got. Now, last thing I'd love to talk about, because I just can't let it go. I really can't. It's driven me mad since it happened. And we're talking years here. It just, I couldn't help it. I feel bad for Taylor Horton Tucker, but I could not help but audibly chortle, laugh out loud. In real life, I audibly chortled when I saw THT on a non-guaranteed contract for, I think, Chicago, right?
Yes, Chicago. Yeah. I love the fact that you said the word chortled. I'm not
audibly,
sure I understand.
I like to substitute audibly chortle for laugh out loud because I think it's cooler. It is technically, if you think about it, audibly chortle. Who uses the word chortle? Nobody. Audibly, come on. Laugh out loud, LOL, over it.
Kurt says the irony in that THT is replacing Caruso on the Bulls.
This is not irony. This is madness. 2 teams afflicted with the same madness that somehow devalue what Caruso brings. It changed the entire trajectory of the team when we made that choice. We went from a team that could defend on the perimeter to one that had a guy with long arms and nothing else.
What's the thing about it is that
Darren,
Rob tried to frame it as we had to make a choice, either one or the other. They didn't have to make a choice. They could have signed Caruso and
THT
Horton Tucker. They didn't have to make a choice.
They just had to spend a little bit more.
Well, it would have cost him $8 million more for. Yeah,
it would have cost him 16. Caruso really would have cost 16. Everybody blames that on Caruso when really you have to blame that on the entire roster salary of the entire team, because it's not just Caruso's salary that got you over into the luxury tax. It's everybody. Darren, if do not, no more talking about those long arms. They're the most inane. Whatever. Now, when I hear people have long arms, I want but he's got long arms. I kind of want to punch him in the mouth a little bit. Just a little bit. I mean, I'm not a naturally violent person by reputation, but when I hear that, it's a little triggering. I have a long arms PTSD thing going on here.
Before we go, I want to ask.
Sure.
I got a question on Jamal Murray, but Seven Grand has a question first.
Okay.
He wants to ask Jamie.
Throw it up on the little.
Do you think the Knicks will be contenders, guys?
Oh yeah, I think they're top 4.
Too.
I think they're a top 4 team in the East. I don't think that's an accurate description. I think they're all A-, B+ players. I don't think there's too many C level players on that team.
They're 7 deep with some 7 really good players.
Yeah, they kind of remind me, and with Brunson being an A+, probably a solid A level player in the league.
If they can turn over Randall into something, like better size, because Robinson has to stay healthy for them.
Shut up, Alan, about long arms. Everybody, next person, I'm going to find you. And I'm not going to punch you hard. I'm going to punch you in the mouth.
Alan's pretty built. I don't think Alan is very scared of you. So
it's not about fear. It's not about I'm going to beat you up or anything. It's just about let's just knock it off with the long arms. It's not. It's like
Brunson.
I've got bulky
Brunson
ankles.
Was a top 5 MVP player.
Brunson's a top 5 player on the Eastern Conference. He's one of the top 5 players in the Eastern Conference.
That's what I'm just saying based off the voting. So
who's is at the guard position? Who are 5 guards better than Brunson? Yeah, there it is. I mean, you could argue Drew Holiday because he gets it done at both ends and he wins. You could argue not Trae Young, nobody on Orlando, nobody on Charlotte. Nobody. You start going down the list, and you're like, "Oh, yeah, he's like the 2nd or 3rd best guard." Okay. Tyrese Halliburton. Okay, sure, and that's why they have a healthy rivalry.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I think Brunson's better than Halliburton. Halliburton's a really good player, but I think Brunson, he's got a bulldog in him. He really he's a fighter, man. He's very impressive to me.
Yeah, Alan, I don't think he's too small to succeed in the playoffs. I think that with the right system, and I think he showed that. I think that if they had had one more scoring option for him to pass to that was reliable, because I think by the time they were starting to lose, I forget the guy's name. I'm spacing on his name, but there was a guy who was like killing it in the regular season, killing it in the first couple of rounds, and then he couldn't hit a 3 to save his life against Boston. And I'm not remembering who it was. It was the man. I don't remember who's on their team right now. My brain is. Anyway, I actually kind of disagree, because I think with Hartenstein leaving, I think the key to that team is Mitchell Robinson healthy. Because if you don't have a healthy Mitchell Robinson, that means you're pressing Randall into duty as your 5, and that's where the Knicks kind of break down. They're in the same boat as us, where you could argue they're in the market for a quality backup center. Where they differ from us is they have a lot more picks to trade still than we do.
Not many anymore. They gave up 5 for.
They gave up 5 for Bridges, right? But that's
2 left.
That's what I mean. That's 2 that they can trade, or 2 like in the next couple of years.
2 that they can trade.
Okay, so they're in the exact same boat we are. They're all their, not all their. They're all their picks, but I don't think they have the boatload of picks they used to have from other teams. 7 grand is what we're saying.
No, they've been picking guys up with them. Yeah.
Yeah, and Bloodhound's right. Anunoby, if OG Anunoby is the key, that was who went down in the playoffs. I was trying to my brain is not working right now. When OG went down, their defense cratered. And that is the key for that team. If Anunoby, doesn't matter what, keep him, it's like LeBron. Try to do your absolute, and this is the problem with Tibbs is that he won't, but you just got to do your absolute best to keep that guy game ready for the playoffs. Tibbs is going to run him into the ground like he does, but we'll see. Who's the next center? It's Mitchell Robinson right now, 7. Anything else, boys?
The big contract today, the extension for Jamal Murray, even though he's had a pretty rocky, postseason with the Lakers, against the Lakers, and then, continued the playoffs, kind of struggled there. Then he looked out of shape and he was really bad for Canada. Got a 4-year, $208 million extension today. He still has 1 year to go. But Mike, what do you think about that for Denver?
He's a good player, but he's not a max player.
No, I mean,
that's what's going on in the league right now is real good players are getting superstar salaries extensions, and that's going to end up biting you in the butt in the long term. I mean, they already let KCP walk because of their salary cap situation. I think it's too much money.
I tend to agree. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I what you just said is, I think, absolutely right, and that this is the modus operandi of the NBA. If you have a guy who meshes well with your best player, obviously Jokic is their best player, you kind of like lock that tandem up. I think Murray's agent probably is the MVP here for making sure he got the max and not, taking $5 mil less per season to open up a little bit more flexibility for Denver down the line. Just remember that every year the cap will be going up the max it can, 10%, which sounds like a lot, but given how much BRI has increased, you would imagine that the Players Association is now maybe wishing that was a little more like 15 to 20% max. But whatever. I don't know. I think the bigger issue for Denver is that if they knew they were going to offer Murray the max and they really believe in this Jokic-Murray tandem, then why didn't you go to the mat to keep KCP? Because KCP's Denver defense is what makes Denver's identity work. He and Aaron Gordon are the little engines that could for that team. And KCP was the same on our team. He and
Danny Green,
and a combination of Danny Green, Dwight and JaVale, just being like just solid, like having just something solid to build off of on both ends of the court, where you knew what you were getting. There wasn't a question mark about whether they could contribute or not. They were all probably playing for less than they're technically worth in the NBA. And not just because they wanted to play for a title, but because that's how the NBA works. The middle class, much like America, kind of gets squeezed out a little bit. And you get the Jamal Murray. And that's, I guess, the American dream, right? I just hope I can be Jamal Murray. And that's the goal on any player's list.
And they reward max extensions to
past performances,
or potential,
or past performance. And
one of the biggest problems for Denver is they gave Michael Porter Jr. that huge extension. He's making like 37 million based upon potential. I mean, he's a good player.
He's solid.
Yeah, he's a $25 million a year player, but he's not a $35 million a year player.
Like 15 to 20, maybe 15 to 20. Point being, I agree with you. It's either you're either based on what you hope to be upside, or hey, you helped us win a title on the cheap. We're going to reward you now with the max deal. I think more interesting. I think it's more of a rumor, but I read an article the other day. I don't even know if you could call it an article, but somebody was speculating. That's how I'll phrase it. Somebody was speculating that there was now disconnect between Mike Malone and the Denver front office because of KCP going away, because Brown, because all these role players that like helped them win a title have now departed for other teams, and the Nuggets front office either couldn't convince them to take whatever they could offer, which is likely, or didn't value their contributions enough, also likely, based on how I think front offices perceive defense. It just doesn't put people in the seats. It doesn't sell tickets. It doesn't get you cable deals, but it wins you titles. Yeah. And that does all those things way better.
I don't know what he's complaining about. They signed Westbrook. I mean,
Gerald, what are your thoughts on the Westbrook signing for Denver? I totally forgot to ask you about this. I'm actually quite curious.
Again, he's not on the Lakers, so fine by me.
But you're all in on it.
Just defer back to a couple years ago when the Lakers traded for him and my infamous rant on that day. And
you were pissed. You were so pissed.
You were, I think you were there.
I was on the show with you, and you were. I was like, I don't think it's going to be that bad.
I drove 300 miles.
It's terrible.
I drove 300 miles that day just so I could scream on YouTube about how bad he was and how bad a move this was. And again, it's not on the Lakers. That's all I care about. He, obviously he flamed out in the Clippers. He had a couple moments of a brief, acceptability, but then he reverted back and pissed off Clippers fans the way that he had pissed off Lakers fans, the way that he pissed off Oklahoma City fans, the way that he pissed off Washington Wizards fans. So I can't wait to hear these Nuggets fans that are going to be pissed off. Probably game 30 when he does his standard 17-foot bank shot that misses by a mile, or when he's going in, to the not the corner, but he goes to the wing to shoot a three, and you can hear the people groaning. I'm just going to wait. I'm just going to listen on the altitude broadcast, the local Denver broadcast. I'm listening on the altitude broadcast and just see if I can make out the people screaming, no, like they did at the crib.
Kurt's always on. Kurt, you're always on fire. One day in retrospect, we might see the Westbrook.
Damn right I told you, Joe. I told everyone out there, and you just don't like it because I knew it and you didn't, Joe. I knew it from the get-go, and you didn't. You said, well, I'm giving him a chance. Well, you know what? So much for that.
Just so you know, Gerald also wanted to trade for Christian Wood 5 years ago.
No. I said a package deal when he was the 15th man on the Detroit Pistons.
That's what it was. I'm just saying.
A package deal with three players at the time.
I love how you remember that, but I still think about that in hindsight. It was
a package deal. Three of the Detroit Pistons players. It was just filler at that point in time. Let's put things in perspective at that point in time.
$7,000 Kurt Affairs endeavoring to deploy irony in this moment, and that is an ironic statement, and he's being hilarious or sarcasm. Your pick, really. And also $7,000 KCP to Orlando will not get them into the Eastern Conference Finals this season.
It still is a bad thing for the Lakers because they're still getting hurt by it. Yeah. They still owe a draft pick, I think, right? One of the
I think we're out of the. I think
we're done with the Westbrook trade.
I think we're both done with the AD and the Westbrook trade this season. No,
no, because the Atlanta gets our pick.
Next year is our last AD pick.
Next year is our last
Westbrook trade.
Yeah, look it up. It might
the AD trade finishes off next season with Atlanta because
I think you're right, Gerald. I think it's like the 2027 pick or 2026 or something.
I'm gonna
check. We owe the 27th. We owe the 27th to Utah. We gave up a first for Westbrook, but they took it that year. It was that year.
2024 and 2028 second rounder.
Okay, so a second rounder in 2028, whatever. We're basically done with the Westbrook trade. I'm sure you'll bring it up on that show in 2028 show.
Well, again, if we're that bad, it might be a high second round pick.
No.
Watch it be a good draft. Watch it be like the best draft ever in 2028, and the Lakers don't have a second round pick.
There are 100 great players out there, easily.
The deepest draft ever.
Don't you think by then the NBA will then have a third round of drafting? But don't you see that coming?
I hope to God not.
Back in the early days, it was 7 rounds.
The fact that we're doing it over 2 days is disappointing enough to me.
I didn't actually. I didn't hate that. I thought I would hate that, and then it was like, okay, well, cool. I mean, the only thing that was annoying is that you have to get up and talk about everything another day. But it's. And I understand that they're just second rounders, but I think it was nice to I guess this is what I'm saying is that I thought it was nice. Not that it changed anything that the Lakers did, but I thought that overall, when I looked at what happened, it was like a nice reset day for the NBA to be like, okay, that's the first round. Let's take a collective breath. Let's reassess let's just make sure we're all on the same page, yada, 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 blah, 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 blah. Kurt Affairs, bring back 7 rounds of
How about over 7 days, Kurt? Then you come on the show and do the draft show each and every day with me. The Lakers with the 20th pick in the 6th round.
I would do that if each round of the
Bryce
draft.
James.
No. That's what I was gonna say. If each round of the draft meant you could dip further into the youngness of a player, like by the 7th round, you can draft like a 12-year-old. That's the only way I'm in favor of it.
You know what I would like to see, though? I really would like to see the NBA expand the G League to where it was the G League teams were more like a Major League Baseball minor league team.
I mean, that's the intent as it is, but it just
but you still only get 3 guys that's two-way players, and then you can lose anybody else that shines, unless you sign them. Cut somebody's.
Oh, I see what you mean. You would like for the team that drafts a guy.
Yeah, I would like to be able to have 5 or 6 guys on 2 ways, just like minor leagues.
I just think that the talent is not. If the talent doesn't sustain the model, that's the real issue. Is that if there was so much talent in the NBA where every team had 8 solid guys that they were just all these guys are hitting, man. We got everything's solid. We do margin tweaks every season, but it's not like that. There's teams where you're how are these guys going to win 5 games? I mean, for me, that's definitely the Nets next season. How are the Nets going to win 5 games? Portland, how are these guys going to win 5 games? I mean, they'll end up at 10 or 12 because somebody doesn't take them seriously or you get hot from 3 or whatever. But it's just that's the true issue. Is that and there's not
flag sweepstakes. Let it begin.
Cooper Flag. They almost put him on the Olympic team. Oh, okay.
That's another.
Whatever. He's from Duke. He's like Shane Battier. He's like all the Dukies. He won't. He'll be mediocre.
That's another thing when tanking isn't
that's
as
a take.
big of a deal as it was.
I don't know if I agree with that one, but okay.
Well, we'll talk about it in a year and a half. No, go ahead, Michael.
Tanking isn't even the same because you don't have as good odds as you used to when you tanked.
No, it's not a guaranteed first rounder anymore. Or
you're not guaranteed as high of a pick as you used to be guaranteed.
Yeah, and I'm cool with that. I don't mind the draft lottery. I think it's better for the NBA, and I think it's better for competition because, and also on top of that, the play-in, where right up until the last week of the season, you still got a shot. A lot of teams still had a shot, and so they're really.
Well, I think the play is good for the league.
It could be the next Cherokee Parks. That's about my prediction. That's a little rough. I'm not going to predict Cherokee Parks or Cooper Flag. Nor am I going to predict Jimmer
Fredette.
Whatever. Oh, he's going to kill you guys. He's going to redefine the league, you guys. He can shoot the college 3, you guys. That's what I think about all of that, which is why I don't watch amateurs in the NCAA. I could care less. Anyway, any other thoughts?
Remember Sasha and his shooting?
Oh yeah,
and it was funny because Phil said Sasha was the very best practice shooter in the league.
That's right.
It's just that he couldn't shoot as well when he got into the games, but he killed them in practice.
I love the Machine. I've always had a soft spot for the Machine, mainly because of that nickname, the Machine. There's nothing machine-like about the guy. He's prissy. He's vain. He does his eyebrows before every free throw. He did make the 2 best free throws in Laker history.
They were very big ones.
Oh, that sealed the deal, baby. I was so happy he was in the game and that he got fouled. And that was pretty much the best thing he ever did. Actually, had a couple of decent. I forget who he played for after that. Cleveland or something like that. He was okay.
Nets. I think he went to the Nets for a while.
The Nets or the Cavs, somebody like that. Whatever. Even when I'm not on the show. Wait, people talk to you about Vucevic all the time, Gerald? Is that what?
Whenever I wear Lakers stuff, people go out of the way to tell me how bad the Lakers are going to be this year. And
I thought you were specifically Sasha Vucevic. I was like,
no, not Sasha. No.
That's very specific. What are you talking about, Joe? I mean, we only made the 2 Home Depot jokes. More than usual. Anyhow, yeah, I guess we're racist against Sasha Vucevic. What is he? I forget where he's from. Anyhow, Slovenian, I think. Yeah, I don't have too much more to add. We are the dog days. Somehow we managed to go for about an hour and a half with nothing to talk about. So that's
There's where I disagree with you, Seven. I don't know about the solid role players because they weren't solid last year.
No, that jury. The jury is out on the Lakers role players.
Yeah,
Coach JJ Redick.
And you're asking the two top 5 to 10 players that you're talking about because they looked great in the Olympics. You're asking them to be healthy for 70 plus games again.
$7,000. I will bet you $7,000 that the Knicks.
I mean, the 44.5 win scenario by all the Vegas and all these other bets. That's actually a really good number. I understand it's 11th in the Western Conference, but it shows that they do their research on exactly what most likely will happen. That, will LeBron or AD stay healthy? The guys past LeBron and AD, are they reliable? Can they be counted upon during the regular season? Probably more so.
Kurt's got a good question to end it on. Put that up there.
Prediction for Laker player to surprise you this year.
Slap it up on the whatchamajigger. Yeah. All right. So, all right. Michael, you go first, then I'll go.
That's a good one, Kurt.
Yeah, this is a good one.
I'll pass for a second. Somebody else go. Let me think about this for a second.
Sure.
Well, let me just say this for Seven. There's a reason why those casinos are nice, big, and tall, and still in business for the most part in this town, is because they're right more often than they're wrong.
That's why they take your money.
Yes. This town wasn't built on winners.
Oh my gosh. How is it that the casino? Well, the better question is.
Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead, Mike.
How's it that a man could lose money running a casino?
Well, you know what? Prediction of a player to surprise you this year. I think it's going to be Rui. I think he showed a lot down the stretch as a starter. Like I said, he has problems with defensive rotations. That's something you can work out. I think it's going to be him. I think he's going to pretty much look like he did down the stretch, which was pretty darn good.
Yeah, Vegas doesn't want the A's, Seven. The governor does. That's why he's trying to get the $350 million that's still in question to try and get. There's
only one group of people who I feel bad about, and that is the good people of Oakland, who have had all of their sports teams ditch them, and all they've ever been is some of the best fans ever. And I know that they didn't show up in droves for the guy who basically said I'm moving to the team as soon as you bought it. Oh, buddy, sorry, billionaire. Oakland sucks. Have you ever been to Oakland, Seven? I doubt it. Oakland's
right now they're still fighting. The teachers union is still fighting and throwing legal blocks against the funding for A's, because it would take $350 million plus of the taxpayers' money to fund that stadium. Yeah. And they're trying to block it so that it goes to schools instead. So
which it should. Which it absolutely should, because the billionaire who owns the team should build the stadium.
You can't reopen the Tropicana because it's actually just 2 shells and they're just about ready to implode it right now. It's actually already torn down for the most part right now.
Okay, my two things. I got a question for you. First, I'm going to ask you my question, Gerald, so I don't forget it. Then I'm going to say what my surprise player is. Gerald, have you been to the Sphere yet?
Not inside. No, I really want to go, but those YouTube prices were just outrageous. I'm thinking about going to the YouTube movie.
You didn't want to go to Dead and Company?
No. Not
what?
Really. It looked cool from the outside though. That display the Sphere was doing in tie-dye. It was like round the clock tie-dye during Dead and Company.
Bunch of dirty hippies. Anyhow, no one building anything in Oakland. Oh, okay, well, whatever. I'm not going to get into it about Oakland. First off, Michael, I also love the birds in the background. It's been
it's Hawaii. Absolutely.
It's frogs. It's not birds, it's frogs.
Really?
It's frogs? Even better.
Frogs.
Those are musical frogs.
They're called koki frogs.
They're beautiful. They're great. I love them. I love your frogs. Anyhow,
I just love the fact that you can go to random island in Hawaii and just see a whole bunch of chickens just all over the place, just randomly.
Oh yeah, my yard. You can do that anytime you want to see chicken. Just going out in my yard.
Don't tell my kid. She'll show up. All right. So my surprise player might be a little bit weird. My surprise player for this season is Anthony Davis. I want Anthony Davis to be in the MVP and the Defensive Player of the Year conversation. It means he played 70-plus games. It means he was the focal point on offense like he should be. And it means he played his normal level of defense, which has gone underappreciated because for some reason people are super fascinated with Rudy Gobert, who wasn't even the best defender last season. I could think of at least two players that I would have put before him. And one of them was SGA. I thought SGA should have won Defensive Player of the Year. But that's just me. I think Gobert was there on rep, mostly for whatever reason. I don't understand it, but I digress. That's my surprise player. AD can basically replicate, if not improve slightly upon last season's output. The Lakers are going to be a big problem because he's a big problem when he's healthy and playing well and engaged, and it opens up a lot of things for the team. You just can see how when he is scoring inside and defending at the level that he can, how he affects the game. And he did it in the Olympics. So I have high hopes that AD can not just replicate, but slightly surpass. Like if he could just hit 2 threes a game. I don't know why Darvin Ham said, I want him shooting 8 threes a game. I wanted to smack him in the face. Coaches, if you're ever going to be an NBA coach, follow Phil Jackson's path. Say nothing certain. Be as vague as possible. Ephemeral, one might say. I remember the year he took the job as the Lakers. Do you guys think you're going to win a title? Oh, I think it'll take us a couple of years to really, get this thing going. Means nothing. Also, you can't come back to it later and be like, well, the coach said this. Take a page out of Phil's book. Don't be concrete. That's my surprise. That's my surprise player of the year.
I think Darvin was the most media unsavvy coach I'd ever seen. He just did not know how to deal with the media.
No, not. And honestly, neither. Luke wasn't even that great. Luke was kind of like, he just ended up sounding like he was tired a lot. Just woke up. Did you see us run the weave tonight? I think we ran it like 3 times. Poor Luke. Had high hopes for Luke, didn't work out. All right. Well, I don't know. Of course, it's basketball, not rocket scientists. Yeah, agreed. Yes, look, Phil Jackson would have left LeBron and his posse alone, I guess. I don't know. It doesn't matter. LeBron's running the show, as we all know. Positivity with no substance is a waste of time. Yeah, whatever, man.
Darren, I'm realistic. I'm with Jamie. I'm realistic. I think the 44.5 bar for the Lakers, I think, is right about right. And I think they'll be fighting for play-in or maybe just barely out of it. And I can't bet the statistics and the odds say that LeBron and AD, you will not get 70-plus games from LeBron and AD. If you do, that's great. But the statistics bear out over the past 5 seasons that you have not been able to get consistently 70-plus seasons from them. And then you're going to ask those 3 same players to shoot over 40%. That's going to be a nice ask as well. And one of those other players that we're talking about that haven't produced to be able to step it up.
Well, isn't one of the players who shot 40% now gone?
What, D'Angelo, LeBron,
no, I thought it was. Oh, no, Rui. Why did I think it was Taurean Prince? That's my bad.
No,
he shot 39.5. So
he was right there, though. He was right there. Yeah. I don't think Rui's going to shoot 40% again. I think that would.
The player that would surprise me the most is Rodell's favorite, as in the emails that he sends to us, Max Christie. Because if he gets to be anywhere near a competent player, that would be a surprise for me. Because he has not shown to be a consistent player outside of Summer League 1 year ago, and that has to change. For the Lakers to be a team that meets 7 Grand's positivity level, because he's being very positive, and more power to him. More power to him for doing that. But if they want him to reach that level, it's got to be more than just the rotation we have now, because we did nothing to improve our team otherwise. So now you're banking on Dalton Connect to have a Rookie of the Year type season.
Gerald,
or
JJ
Max
Redick is going to reinvent basketball this season.
Or Max Christie to step up several times more than what he did last season. And one of those two guys has got to be the key, because I don't see any vast improvement from any other player else, unless you're really hoping that Christian Wood goes back on that revenge tour. So that's what I'm talking about. So we'll see what happens. Again, I just don't share the same enthusiasm you guys do. I look at it realistically. I watch all the games. I bear into the statistics. I go and do the research for this show. The statistics do not bear it out. The way that this team is built, and the fact that so many, you're asking all these if all the other teams had done nothing, maybe it'd be a different story. But there were teams that improved quite a bit during the offseason that may jump over the Lakers in the standings this season.
Yeah, I think Golden State might jump over the Lakers in the standing this season just by virtue of losing Klay Thompson. And I like Klay. That's not a knock against Klay.
Well, if DeAnthony Melton's healthy, he could end up being a better contributor than Klay
and Buddy Hield. Don't forget they got Buddy Hield, so that's
and Anderson from Minnesota.
Kyle Anderson's sneaky good. I was annoyed we didn't get Kyle Anderson, because that's kind of the exact guy we need. He's just one of those guys that he kind of like Reeves, except that he comes without the hype of Reeves even, and that he's just good.
No, we were too busy jacking up the price to Max Christie.
Don't get me started. Well, I wouldn't have minded holding on to Max for 5, and maybe
offer him a minimum for 2 or 3 years,
or maybe the max, $3 million minimum for the max, all
4-year, $12 million deal. There you go.
Minimum for the max, minimum max number of years, all guaranteed. Take it.
What has he done to deserve that contract?
Nothing. He's done zero. Anyway, anything else, gentlemen? $7,000 Lakers.
I just great having Michael here. Great having Jamie here. I'm sorry we didn't call you an idiot, Jamie, during the course of the show like we used to.
It's all right. He doesn't do it every show. Jared, we know. That's what we said. $7,000. I don't know who's saying Buddy Hield couldn't even get minutes for the Sixers. When was he on the Sixers? Oh, for
last season.
No, for a month and a half though. For just from the trade deadline on, right? That doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me at all. Nick Nurse doesn't.
But they have a lot of rotational players in Golden State. They're not going to be a title contender, but I think they will be a very functional team, because unlike the Lakers, they do have a depth of about 8-9 players of name quality players that they can throw out there on a regular season during the regular season. So
I would say this, that with Buddy Hield on the Warriors scares me a lot more than Buddy Hield on the Sixers, because the Warriors run a package of plays designed for Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield is one of the better catch and shoot 3-pointers in the league. Golden State is one of the best at creating catching and shoot 3-point opportunities because of the ball movement and the screens that they set. So you could put Draymond and Buddy in a lineup with Pod or even Wiggins, and you can get a lot of mileage there, I feel like.
And DeAnthony Melton.
And Anderson. You could that's a bench. That's a bench that actually I would.
And that's what's going to win them some games in the regular season.
That's a bench I'm envious of, quite honestly. So,
that's the type of team that's going to win some regular season games, on back-to-backs or things like that, just because they'll have depth, and there'll be teams coming in that don't have that kind of depth. And
if you're playing Buddy Hield with Anderson and Green, you're going to you're defending just fine. Kyle Anderson is underrated at every level of the game. He is an under-the-radar player.
I see him about 45, 47 wins. I see them slightly above the Lakers, but
I think they're the 6th seed, and we're battling for 7, 8, 9, 10 like we were last season. That's
11.
That 11?
12. That's where Vegas has them at 11th.
I think they'll be a little bit above 11, 12, just because I think that New Orleans is about to implode around Brandon Ingram. I don't think Portland's going to do well.
You don't have enough faith in Memphis or Houston?
I think Memphis is about to implode. And has been imploding. It's like a slow motion implosion, a stop motion one, if you will, like on a Primus video.
Yeah, the Clippers are going to fall.
Clippers are going to implode.
I don't think Denver is going to be nearly as good. I mean, they have. You talk about the Lakers.
The regular season, I think they'll win.
Westbrook is the Denver bench. He is the bench, because they're going to have to move Braun to the starting lineup.
That's a fair. They're not going to start Russ. Yeah, that's a fair point, Michael. That's a fair point. Yeah, Denver might take a little bit of a tumble. Anyway, I the Grizz played excellent in summer league. I'm not even gonna. We already talked about summer league. We're moving on. Anyhow, I'd like to thank my panelists, Gerald Grassford, and even though Gerald, this is your show, so I don't know why I'll do the host stuff.
It's your show. Your show.
I know. I appreciate it. But down on the bottom, how did I end up on the bottom if it's my show?
Because you came in here last.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. And I could really care less, to be honest. The only time it's annoying is like when the banner comes back, and I gotta feel like I do like.
Are you sure you don't want me to call you idiotic? Just to make you feel better, but like if you miss Laker Tom before you.
What I really want you to do is one of these. Well, now what we should do here is.
Jamie, you're always so negative. You're always so negative.
Glass is half full, Jamie.
You never want us to do anything.
There's nothing in the glass, you guys. It's empty. Hi, Sierra Music Festival. Go to it. Actually, it's got to be over right now. Anyway,
big shout out to Michael for coming on too. Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you, Michael, for staying. Well, yeah, Joe wants to think his main.
Shut up, Joe.
Joe, you almost got me to say it, but I caught it.
Shut up, Joe.
Yeah, that's right, Mission. That's right. This kind of pianist. Anyway, all right. Well, we're gonna do this. Laker Chat, I'd like to thank you for being the best Laker Chat on planet. Yeah, I can't every day.
It's your site. Do you still do the 5 things articles?
Well, not during the summer. There's not enough to talk about 5 things wise.
It's kind of like one thing during the summer.
yeah, it's like one thing every like 3 to 4 weeks, and I don't post like stuff from Twitter. I don't post other people's material. I don't do covers. I if I got something to say, I'll say it, and if I don't, I'm not going to Imagineer some what have you. It's just not. It's not worth my time, and I'm not getting paid. It's not my job, so I do what I can. And if that's not enough for some people, let's check the give a shit meter. No shit's given. No shit's given. I'm so sorry. And I love Tom. Tom's a great guy. He's one of the few people I've met in person from the blog world. So we had lunch one time in San Francisco, and he was lovely. Don't be a fool. Wrap your tool. Joe, those are words to live by. Those are words to live by. And if you don't know what Joe Soro is talking about, you're probably 14 years old. And even then, you should listen to him, especially at 14, so you can get through whatever constitutes as college these days. I'd like to thank my panelists, Michael Heinrich, as he's really called, but we call him Michael H. over at Lakerholics.com. As always, the Podfather, Gerald Glassford, the best Laker chat room on planet Earth. We appreciate all of your jokes. Mars, we're on Mars, Jamie. Yeah, we're on a mission to Mars, which was a classic Disney ride back in the day where you got to watch a TV in the bottom that looked like a rocket ship.
I remember that.
And we're going to Mars. Oh, we're in Mars. We're in space. Oh, no, we're crashing. We're crashing. Oh, we're okay. That's the ride. And if you don't remember that, then you're probably 14. And you should listen to Joe about wrapping the tool.
Well, that would take 7 grand says he'll take Austin Reeves over Brunson.
Yeah, we won't. Yeah, bro. No, just no. Just no. One is going to be an all-star this year, deservedly so. The other would love to be an all-star.
That's almost as big as the Cooper Flag take that you had. So
whatever. Oh, are we debating amateurs now? Is that what we're doing?
No, I'm just level of takes. I was just rating it.
No way. His is way worse. Mine is going to be right. You like that? He's Duke, amateur, done.
Okay.
You top out at Shane Battier. That's the best.
I like the Cherokee Parks though. I thought that was
that was really good. That was a good one. I liked Shane Battier, but remember when he was going to be the next Michael Jordan? Yeah, me neither. Anyhow, follow all the stuff Gerald does. Gerald does a bunch of stuff. He's got Pop Culture Cosmos. He's got shows with Joe every day that he puts up and listens to Joe rant and rave. He puts up with my dithering and blathering and what have you. And so thank you for all the patience, Gerald. And listen, we're still over a month out from camp. So next week, when Tom's here, hopefully, maybe we'll talk about some trades that didn't happen. Or won't happen. or won't happen.
They're right around the corner, Jamie. That Miles Turner trade is right around the corner. He's only been talking about it for 2-3 years now.
We're not going to trade for Miles Turner because we're going to need those assets for Lonzo Ball.
Oh yes, absolutely.
When he posted that on, I was just like, "What's there? Yeah, hasn't played in 2 seasons and has bad knees. What's there to like? What's there to like? What's there? Why are you even reposting this? In what world? In what world does anyone want Lonzo Ball on their team? I mean, even the Bulls, they're like, yeah, I mean, nobody's gonna trade for this guy, so yeah, get better, buddy, get better." Please. So we could trade Levine to the Lakers for everybody.
Have you ever noticed that one of the major criteria at Tom's trades are they have to have been seriously injured several times?
And I pointed it out to him, to which he then replies, tells me how negative I am and how terrible my attitude is.
You got to see him on Twitter when he posts that stuff. The replies are hilarious.
Oh,
Jamie,
I would have that.
The stuff that the feedback he gets is hilarious.
You know what? I might surprise him one of these days and do like a shared screen of his Twitter. Here's what
just the responses that he gets. Oh my God! That's why I follow Laker Tom.
$7,000. What little credibility you had with me, which technically was 0, just dropped into the vast negative with that statement.
And he said he liked you.
I know. I like him too, but I mean that just Lonzo Ball when healthy. Well, yeah. I mean, if the sun were to never rise,
he is just he's a Brunson hater. Wow.
Yeah, he really doesn't like Brunson, but that's fine. Whatever.
Brunson plays terrible defense. You're right, but the proof's in the pudding. He did have an almost MVP like season,
but he does everything else on the other side of the court better than Trae Young does, who's always Trae Young and Luka Doncic. Trae Young
doesn't have to buy a meal at all in New York.
No, nor should he. Anyhow, thank you, everyone. I keep saying goodbye, so let's do it one more time. I'm Jamie Sweet. That's Michael H. That's Gerald Glassford. I can never do it right. I'm always like, which shoulder is? It's my dyslexia. It's my, my theaterness. I don't know. Anyhow, thank you, everybody, for everything. Have a wonderful, hot summer day. It's much hotter in California than it is in Las Vegas.
Unless you're in Hawaii.
Hey, it's supposed to be 81, 82 tomorrow, guys. Come on.
How can you stand it, Michael? My God.
It's hard.
No, I can't live like this. Oh, at least we got the frogs to, help you stay cool.
In the wintertime, it's 75, and in the summertime, it gets up to maybe 82, 85.
You're killing Gerald right now. You're killing Gerald. Really Gerald, whose skin doesn't see the light of day for fear that it will burn from his body, like Linda Evans in Terminator when the Terminator 2 when the bomb goes off and she's holding.
Linda Hamilton.
I'm sorry, Linda Hamilton. Thank you.
Linda Evans is from Dynasty.
Yeah, it's a little older.
She's busy slapping around a Carrington or two.
Yeah. That's not all she's slapping around. Anyway, on that note, we should probably end this, but I can't end it because Gerald's the host technically. So I
have to eat dinner.
There you go.
Go, Michael. Run. Head for the hills.
Right. Thanks, everyone.
Aloha.
Sarah Connor.
Aloha.
Sarah Connor, come with me if you want to live.